So morning, everyone. It's lovely to see so many people. As I was just saying, at 1 minute to 7, there were just three of us, and my mum, who's here, they're visiting us for this last week of term. And let me just get my notes up here. Oh, that was the wrong thing. Here we go. Sorry. These are these mornings. Yeah, so it's been a busy week, I think, for all of us, since this time last week where Pluto moved into Aquarius, which is all about people and power to the people. Pluto is about power, and Aquarius is the people. And so I don't know how many of you have felt like this week has been on fast forward. I don't think I'm alone in it. Yeah. Like we can't carry on at this pace. And the good news is that the new moon is coming on Sunday, is our new moon, the 1st of December. So I really encourage all of us, and I'm speaking particularly to myself here, to find some time to ground and calm. And whether that looks like walking barefoot on the grass, or going for a walk in nature, or being on the beach, or journaling, or something like that. But to really honor ourselves and our bodies, and give ourselves a little bit of space. We're going to actually be in Bloemfontein at Finn's interprovincial hockey tournament, cricket tournament. He's made KZN Inland under 13. So it doesn't really lend itself to time to rest, but I think one has to be conscious of these things and carve out stuff wherever one is. And this is all about secrets coming out and truth being revealed this time. And we've seen a lot already. I mean, there's been stuff even in mainstream media coming out. And yeah, well, yeah, it's interesting. I'll have a look at the chat just now. I think Ellen says it's not going to be easy to calm for the next few weeks. So even if we just do the few moments and the few things that, like this morning, like this mindful moment, just going to pin myself here so you can see me better, but I do so love seeing all your names and faces. And so for us as a family, we've had Pips finishing matric this last year. She finished on Monday. She wrote her exam. Then we had champagne. We had the school put on champagne, and then we had a get together Monday evening. And then Finn is finishing grade 7, and he's got all the laughs. Paul Polish take it very seriously, so there are lots of ceremonies and services and things, which is wonderful. And then William's had his future fit presentation and things like that. So there's lots of endings this week, and I'm sure it's been the same for many of you. There's just, even if it's not necessarily school endings, there's a lot going on. And so today I'm doing actually a talk at St. Anne's, which is a girls' boarding school, local to us in Hilton. I'm doing a talk for the whole senior school, well, grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, and grade 11. The matrics have obviously just left. And I think they're teachers. It's a similar talk to the one I did last year for Wickham. And last year they put me in the chapel, and then afterwards they said, no, they shouldn't have put me in the chapel for that talk. But I didn't know I was going to be in the chapel. But I speak a lot about God, so I do think it is. But I'm talking in this indoor center, which is quite intimidating. And it's all about young women taking back their power and not looking externally for validation, and not comparing themselves to others. And I talk about, when I quote the dōTERRA even in that. I mean, there's so many Bible verses on not comparing yourself to others. And then the dōTERRA speaks about not comparing ourselves to others because they'll always be greater and lesser people than ourselves. And actually, there's a wonderful podcast I've listened to recently, Mel Robbins, on her bronze medal mindset. And that is very much, when you have a gold medal, you've won. Like, that's the peak, although sometimes that peak doesn't last that long. And then when you've got the silver medal, there's a little bit of like, oh, I could have won, I should have won, and comparing yourself to the winner and feeling a little bit like you've lost the gold, as opposed to won silver. And then the bronze medal mindset is much more around comparing yourself like down, like looking down and thinking, geez, I'm lucky to be here. Look at all those people who didn't get here. Look at the people who didn't even get to the Olympics, let alone get a medal. And so she says we always compare ourselves up, and when we compare ourselves down, we find a lot more gratitude for our lives. So really encouraging them not to compare themselves up, whatever up is, because there's always for every single person greater and lesser people. And when we do, we drive a wedge between ourselves and our bodies, which is our bodies are our compass and our guide and our intuition, and that's where our superpower lies. If we can really own and learn to regulate and to listen to our bodies, that's where we get our superpowers, and that's what we're doing in these mindful moments. And this berating and hating ourselves drives a wedge between us and our bodies, and disempowers us, and lands us in us giving ourselves away or giving our power away. So my talk is really to help them understand how much power they really have, and that we all really have this power within us. We just really have to learn how to harness it, and how every word we say is an affirmation to oneself. So we must choose our words wisely for empowering ourselves, because every word is a prayer. And with our words, we want to choose to pray for our highest possible outcomes, which is really in every situation is love. Yeah, so if the highest possible situation from this life and from any situation. So I ask you, please, all to energetically support me, because this is much bigger than me, and we're all in this together. And part of why I've been able to do this is the strength that this community has given me. It's much bigger. Thank you, Gail. Much bigger than me, and we're all in this together. And these are quite extraordinary times to be alive. Every astrologer, I was listening to Caroline Myss. I love her stuff this morning, and she talks a lot about prayer. And she was just also saying what an extraordinary time it is to be alive. And I'm also today ending with the poem Woman, which I did a mindful moment on 2 weeks ago, and have used that poem actually so many times now in talks I've done recently, because it's the call and the charge for us as women at the moment. Really, it's a time of us stepping up and stepping into our power and stepping up and showing ourselves and the world how to be. And so I'll repost that poem on our Mindful Moment group, which if you're not on, please let me know if you'd like to be on it. So for now, I did do my frankincense earlier, and I'm just putting some rose, divine love. It was so beautiful. Last week I did a talk at Bella Rose's, Lizzie Thornton-Zipp's lovely her garden service and flower service, and she's got Bella Rosa Farm. And I did a talk and talked about the healing power of nature and our connection to nature and how we've become so disconnected. And we did a little mindfulness practice and involving a little raisin. And then I often do it with a chocolate, but this time we did it with roses and a rose. And I said that perhaps that's why our family has such an obsession with roses, because rose symbolizes divine love. And so the oil is hugely expensive and very difficult to get hold of. dōTERRA don't even sell it because it takes so many rose petals to compress and distill it, so that the 5 ml rose you only get at special things. They'll only do it on a special launch or as a gift or something like that. You can buy the touch roller, which is the diluted roller. But even having roses in your home or in your garden or bringing them into your home is such a powerful thing to do. And actually, I told the story that Pips and I and another mum and daughter had gone out to dinner on, I don't know which night it was, Tuesday night last week after one of their exams. And the car guard, as we came out of the restaurant, it was this little Thai restaurant in Hilton. The car guard had put little roses on each of our door handles as a gift for us. He said, no, it was as a gift to us. And it just felt like a gift from God. I think I told you this last time. But I encourage you to bring roses into your life in whatever shape and form that is. So I invite you just to, am I even recording? Yes, I am. Now you can see why I need this as much as everyone. So just allow us to settle in this moment. That may be closing your eyes or just dropping your gaze, or just dropping your attention to your feet if you're walking or busy, and just anchoring ourselves on this earth, anchoring our energy, anchoring our attention, feeling into our feet, noticing the deep connection of our feet on the floor, almost a rootedness that reaches down far deeper than just our feet resting on the floor. A rootedness that's always there to ground us and anchor us and hold us close to Mother Nature, close to the earth. And that allows us to be nourished by Mother Nature, by the earth, just like a tree roots receive their nourishment from the earth. We know now that trees don't just receive nourishment, they also receive messages. They also communicate just by earthing and by being grounded. And so now we ground ourselves and we realize how connected we all are to the earth and to each other. So really tapping into this feeling of grounding and receiving this grounding and nourishment and support, actively opening up to it through our feet. And then allowing our attention just to drift up, noticing other areas of support, like our cushion or chair, noticing how our pelvic bowl sits and our hips, our thigh muscles, our femurs rest on these cushions and chairs. And noticing the support they give us. And actively receiving that support. And then just following our spine and noticing perhaps our posture as we sit here, and perhaps encouraging ourselves just to lift up out of our pelvic bowl, for our spine to reach up towards the sky with its day blind stars, for our shoulders to soften and open, so that we assume a position of dignity and strength, of power, of intention. And we hold ourselves in this position, but we hold ourselves gently with a sense of expansion rather than something that is more military and commanding. It's more expansive and light. And then dropping down to your breath, dropping into your heart center and your lungs. And just noticing the receiving of each breath and the letting go of each breath. And just allowing these words to land on your body. Let's forget the world for a while. Fall back and into the hush and holy of now. Are you listening? This breath invites you to write the first word of your new story. Your new story begins with this. You matter. You are needed, empty and naked, willing to say yes, and yes, and yes. Do you see the sun shines day after day, whether you have faith or not? The sparrows continue to sing their song, even when you forget to sing yours. Stop asking, am I good enough? Ask only, am I showing up with love? Life is not a straight line. It's a downpour of gifts. Please hold out your hand. Let's forget the world for a while, fall back into the hush and holy of now. Are you listening? This breath invites you to write the first word of your new story. Your new story begins with this. You matter. You are needed, empty and naked, willing to say yes, and yes, and yes. Do you see the sun shines day after day, whether you have faith or not? The sparrows continue to sing their song, even when you forget to sing yours. Stop asking, am I good enough? Ask only, am I showing up with love? Life is not a straight line. It's a downpour of gifts. Please hold out your hand. So in this moment, holding your hands out in a gentle opening, a gentle receiving, and allowing these gifts to land in your hands, on your body, on your heart. So many blessings we have in our lives that we don't see when we are comparing up. But when we compare down, we see our enormous abundance, our enormous blessings, our enormous grace. And just for a moment, pausing to really receive the blessings that are already here for us this morning. A warm bed, running water, flushing toilets, the breath in our body, for when we are breathing, there's more right with us than wrong with us. The connectivity and connection that allows this moment. Our hands and our feet, however they support us. The assurance of having food to eat today, water to drink, a home to live in, a community to connect with. And just tapping into the sensation of gratitude for all these things and so much more in our hands, in our heart space. Noticing as we feel this gratitude in our hands that it might have a sensation. It may feel like a tingling, a warmth, a light, may even have a weight, an anchoredness to it. When our thoughts start to drift, which they will, just bringing them back to our hands and the anchor they provide us today. Coming back with each breath to your anchor of your hands. Keeping your attention there, feeling into your hands, into the spaces between your fingers too. Feeling the life force energy, the chi, the prana, the spirit that is within us. Within each and every one of us. You don't have to earn it, but we do have to cultivate it. We're all born with it. It's inherent in us from when we're in our mother's womb. It leaves us at the moment of death. You can see that it's gone. But for now, just feeling into the essence of our life force energy that sits inside us. That pulses through our arteries and our veins. That is here for us whenever we tap into it. Keeping your attention rested in your hands, in these receiving hands. Let's forget the world for a while, fall back and back into the hush and holy of now. Are you listening? This breath invites you to write the first word of your new story. Your new story begins with this: you matter. You are needed, empty and naked, willing to say yes, and yes, and yes. Do you see the sun shines day after day, whether you have faith or not? The sparrows continue to sing their song, even when you forget to sing yours. Stop asking, am I good enough? Ask only, am I showing up with love? Life is not a straight line. It's a downpour of gifts. Please hold out your hand. In this last few moments, as you take the last breaths of this meditation, I invite you to rest your hands on your heart space and anchoring this gratitude and life force energy into our heart space. Knowing that it's there for us whenever we need it, that we can just rest our hands on our heart space and just to take a few breaths. Whenever we forget, catch ourselves rushing, feeling unsupported, feeling not good enough, just knowing that we can take a few breaths, feel into our hands and anchor back into our heart space. If we can regulate our breath and offer up gratitude for the blessings that we already have in our lives. And when you're ready in your own time, just taking a few deep breaths, breathing in and sighing out. A nice audible sigh, a kind of a letting go, like an allowing. We don't have to work so hard, try so hard. We can just allow. We can just receive this breath. And then we can just relax and allow. And when you're ready, just moving into your fingers and toes. And looking in, opening your eyes gently. And when you're ready, looking at the names and the faces on the screen, seeing who's here with us, and holding those who are only listening to this later in our hearts as well, knowing that you are here with us energetically. And we're beyond time and space in this moment. So wishing you a blessed day, whatever you may be doing. Thank you, Karina. I'm off to the hairdresser shortly, so I can help myself feel like I'm showing up. Thank you, Jeanette. Ellen said, not easy to calm for the next 3 weeks. Mercury in retrograde yesterday. I thought it went retrograde last week. I know it is happening quite a lot else, yes. Cheryl says, diffuse your Shirin Yoko, if nothing else. That's our forest bathing. Yes, that's our forest bathing oil. That's exactly why dōTERRA designed it, because to bring nature into us. And that's what I said in my talk last week. All this forest bathing and ice bathing and essential oils and things, is it all a fad? And actually, I think the fad is that we've moved from nature. We become so disconnected from nature. We don't look at the stars and tap into the seasons. We live the same through winter and summer. Yeah, so that Shirin Yoka is a lovely blend, and any of the tree oils. I put lots of cedar wood on myself as I was applying my lotions and things today, just to help bring that energy of grounding and stuff, and standing like a tall tree, like a cedar wood tree. Step up as women, not women trying to be men. Yes, absolutely, Ellen. Or as good as men. Yes, we all have our different things. That's the masculine and feminine energy, and we can lift each other. Thank you, Hilda. Oh, thank you, Corrine. Sorry, thank you so much. Oh, the shadow was last week. Okay, the next 3 weeks. We've got to hold ourselves in, guys. We've got to, because Mercury retrograde is glitchy, so we have to spend lots of time holding our hands on our hearts. So my talk is 12 to 12 to 1:15. And I'd really, if you remember and you can hold your hands on your heart and offer me a little bit of energy and strength, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you, Louise. Thank you, Sal. Thank you, Sue. Sending you all much love. And blessings. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the love. See my nails. I'm already dressed because I'm not coming home. I'm going from the hairdresser and then going to Finn's awards ceremony and then today. And anyway, much love to you all. You're welcome to unmute if anyone wants to. Thanks, Hilda. Thanks, Mandy. Lots of love. Take care, everyone. See you next week.